just fine.
The adult ball pit, isn't it? We've already discussed that you can get a discount for being a visitor. So what would be the top tip, other than getting your discount voucher, for anybody who's looking at visiting?
So here's my top tip when visiting any Macerich shopping center and fashion outlets in the United States. Visit our website, macerich.com. Click on the shopping center that you're headed to and check out our visitor info section. It's going to give you all the information on our programs. It's going to give you an idea of what the temperature is that day. It gives you a list of all of our retailers, tells you where to park or where to have the cab drop you off. It gives you the text concierge information to have any questions answered upon arrival. That's a great resource for our visitors, is to take advantage of our website. And then don't forget the visitor savings. All you have to do is click on visitor information, have the visitor savings option, click on that, and all of our retailers' special offers and services and amenities are listed right there for their enjoyment.
Okay, can we just have the website one more time, please?
Sure, it's macerich.com, macerich.com.
Okay, great. Thanks for your time.
You're very welcome.
If you're going abroad by plane, boat, or the family car, if you're going abroad for pleasure or business, there's one essential thing to do before you go. Check the expiry date on your European Health Insurance card. You can renew it up to 6 months before it expires. Visit nhs.uk/healthcare abroad or call 0845 606 2030. Bon voyage!
Checking it out before you check in on the John Guinn Travel Show on ukhealthradio.com. If you visited a Macerich shopping centre and fashion outlet during a recent trip to the US, please do share your experiences at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show, especially if you've got any tips on making the most out of a visit to one of them, which wasn't covered during the interview with Kate. If you missed the website for the shopping centres, it will be found at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. Just look for the show dated the 23rd of March. Still to come on the show, there's some travel news, including some important information for those of you who may be driving into France this summer. But before that, Tahiti. So the second interview I had in London was with Juno Thompson, who represents Tahiti in the UK. The interview was recorded in a ground floor room near the main entrance to the office and next to the road. So there's a little bit of road noise in the background, and every now and again somebody comes in and out of the front door, which you might hear it clang. But apart from that, the interview is great. There's lots of information, and the first thing we needed to know is where the islands are and what's the history behind them.
So Tahiti itself is a destination we actually refer to as the Islands of Tahiti, or French Polynesia, which is also often referred to. It's located in the heart of the Pacific. So the destination covers 118 islands altogether. So it's a huge, huge destination. And it actually covers an area of water the size of Europe. So you wouldn't really believe how expansive Tahiti actually is. When it comes to the history, it was originally settled by explorers from Southeast Asia who travelled by outrigger canoe to get to settle on the islands of Tahiti. Since then, we have had Europeans come over. The first European was a British man named Samuel Wallis. This was then followed by the French. Following many years of a Franco-British rivalry, eventually ending in the islands being overcome by the French, hence French Polynesia.
Okay. Well, I can't say Polynesia, so I'm going to say the islands of Tahiti all the time.
Cool.
I didn't realise it was that large as well. That's a huge area to cover, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So how did you get there from the UK?
So the most straightforward way is via LA. So I would recommend flying out to LA, any airline you prefer. And then from LA you can fly onto Tahiti with Air Tahiti Nui, which is our flag carrier. What's quite cool about Air Tahiti Nui flights is that they are very Polynesian. So all the crew are from Polynesia. The seats are covered in flowers. You have some quite nice little touches, like the cabin crew will give you a tiare flower, which is our national flower, which will slowly open out throughout the flight. So you're instantly in holiday mode when you step on board.
That sounds great. The last time I was on a flight, it was a no-frills one. It's basically sit down and shut up.
Oh,
you can't get given a nice little flower. That sounds really good.
Yeah, it's not EasyJet.
You said there's quite a few islands covering that massive area.
Yeah.
Are they all inhabited?
No, they're not. So approximately 67 are inhabited. So Tahiti itself is the largest and most populated island. And approximately 70% of Tahitians actually live there on the island of Tahiti itself. So they're very sparsely populated, the other 117.
So if you don't like crowds, don't buy a place on the main island.
Yeah.
With all these islands, are they all the same or do they have their own distinctive character?
So the islands are so different. For example, Tahiti itself and Bora Bora, I'm sure you've heard of Bora Bora, everyone has, they're volcanic islands, so they're very high islands with big mountains and loads of vegetation. So that's really, completely different. And then we also have some atoll islands, which are a lot more like the Maldives, where they're just completely flat and you just have ocean, sand, sky. So really, really different characteristics throughout the destination.
You're listening to The Travel Show with John Guinn on ukhealthradio.com. Still to come, travel news, including the warning for those who may be driving to France this summer. I'm speaking to Juno Thompson. We're talking about the Islands of Tahiti. I'm guessing that when it comes to islands, most of you may have experienced the Caribbean islands many more times than you would have done a Pacific island. So the next question I put to Juno was, how do the islands of Tahiti compare to the islands of the Caribbean?
One thing that I probably noticed most about visiting Tahiti compared to the Caribbean is just it's not an all-inclusive destination at all. So whereas when you go to a lot of Caribbean destinations, you might feel more involved, stuck in the resort, and you don't really get such a sense of the local community. What's great about Tahiti is that it's very much entwined with the locals, so all their staff are always local. You're going to have lots of encounters, you can go to local markets and villages, and there's very much like a good mixture of locals and tourists. You don't ever feel that division. So that's probably my favourite thing about Tahiti.
I visited a Caribbean island and the hotel, nobody was local, they were all foreign nationals coming over to dive. That's what I wanted to do, is to work in the hotel to pay for the diving, so you didn't really get a feel. So that sounds a good reason to go.
And what's really nice, like we, a lot of the hotels do put on dance performances, and a lot of locals actually come to watch the dance performances, and it will be just the local dance group from down the road who practice in their spare time and then come to the resort. So it's really nice. It feels very local and friendly and involved as well, which is good.
Sounds a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So what are the entry requirements for somebody with a UK passport? Do you need a visa? Do you need jabs?
So you don't need a visa. You do need 6 months on your passport. What's really important to remember, especially if you're travelling through LA, is that you do need a visa ESTA for transit. So it's a good one to know. With jabs, you don't need any jabs. It's a very safe destination.
I had a yellow fever jab once and I fainted. So
Oh, really?
That's one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's a good destination
Yeah,
for you
me.
then.
I
You
like
don't
the
have to put yourself through that.
A lot of people go on holiday, they don't just relax, they like to do a bit of shopping as well.
Yeah.
So is there much in the way of shopping in the islands? Is there any duty free?
So we're not really a shopping destination, so you're not going to find big international boutiques. But there are markets, you can get some more local produce. The kind of big thing to take away from Tahiti is the black pearl. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Tahitian black pearl. So this is a really rare, it's basically black pearls, and you can only find them in Tahiti, they're unique to Tahiti. So they're a really big souvenir to take home. And the locals all have their black pearl necklaces and their black pearl earrings.
So it's okay
That's
to take
the
black
thing.
pearls out. You're not going to get in trouble at customs for having a black pearl.
No, so what you do need to make sure that you go to a registered shop, so don't pick them up just on the market, but there's lots of registered shops and they'll give you a receipt for customs, so you can just show that if there's any problems.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people from when I was a travel agent, they were extremely fussy eaters and it caused a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Like they had to be able to have Heinz ketchup, for instance.
Okay.
So some people like to travel with their own foodstuffs when they go away on holiday. Is
Yeah.
there any restrictions with what you can take in?
There are restrictions, so you can't take meat, dairy products, fruit and vegetables. I would, if you do want to bring your own stuff out to Tahiti, I would definitely you can look on Air Tahiti Nui, so their flag carrier, and they'll have all the restrictions for flying into Tahiti. So that's what I would recommend, to be on the safe side.
Just try the local food and that'd be so
But
fussy.
the local food's amazing, and it's so fresh. They have the best fruit you'll ever taste, best pineapples. Yeah,
I could just do a pineapple right now.
yeah.
I mean, the islands cover a huge area, but as a nation, is it large enough to have its own currency? So what is it?
Yeah, we do have our own currency. So we have the French Pacific franc. It is hard to come by in the UK. So what I've done in the past is just pop to the ATM once I land in Tahiti. Well, there's loads of ATMs in the local market and downtown Papeete, which is the capital. So it's easy just to get some money out there. You could also bring euros as well. So euros are also widely used throughout the destination. So yeah, it's whatever you prefer.
But it's easy to get hold of once you're there.
Yeah, it's easy to get hold once you're there, not in the UK.
So change it before you come back as well then?
Yeah. Yeah, unless you're planning to go to Tahiti again.
You can follow me on Twitter at holiday_hut. The day I interviewed Juno about the islands of Tahiti had just been the day after a very mild early spring day. And as I'm recording this now, it's raining outside, so the weather in Tahiti, or the islands of Tahiti, is very important when you're looking at getting away from the grey, dismal UK. So the next point I asked Juno about was what the climate of the islands was like.
So we really try and market ourselves as a year-round destination. So you're going to have really hot temperatures throughout, so around 28, which is perfect for me. We do have a wet season and a drier season. So the dry season starts about now, so March until October. And then we have the wetter season, which is November until March time. But don't let that put you off too much. I did go in December and I had one day of rain out of the whole week. So there's always going to be that risk, but it's kind of what you...
Yeah. It's worth taking the risk to go all that way.
Yeah,
just to
definitely.
enjoy it.
It's better. And also, it's so nice to be able to go in our winter and have some hot weather. So I'd recommend going in winter still.
No, well, I'll get grumpy if it goes over 10 degrees C, so 28 is a bit warm.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
my wife would love
perfect
it.
for me.
It ended up being French
Yeah.
ruled in the end. Does that mean the local language is French, or is there other languages?
Yeah, so everyone does speak French, but Tahiti also has its own language, Tahitian. And there's lots of different dialects spoke throughout the 118 islands. One island's dialect will be completely different to another island's. So yeah, both are spoken, and people generally have really good English as well, so it's not a problem for being a Brit either.
That's handy, because I can't speak a word of French.
Yeah, no, you recognise.
The islands cover a huge area. If you wanted to do island hopping, is it easy to get around? Is there boats, or do you have to fly?
Yeah, so we definitely encourage to do island hopping. So don't just spend 2 weeks in Bora Bora like lots of people do, and really get out there and explore. We have an internal airline called Air Tahiti, which just does domestic services, and the islands are really well serviced. So you have islands with maybe 400 people living on them, and it still has a regular flight, so really easy to get about.
When you get on an island, is it a drivable destination? Do you hire a car, or is there other ways of getting around?
So majority of the islands are very small. So Tahiti itself, which is the largest island, that you could get away with hiring a car, but the others are just really little, so you can get away with just having taxi transfers or even hiring a bike on some of the islands.
Or just don't be lazy on walk, I suppose.
Yeah.
The local culture, I've got an answer, probably an idea for this